Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Well, good morning, everyone. I'm glad to see people from all over of Indonesia. Yeah, there's actually a few people from outside Indonesia also who have registered, so I hope they will join us as well. um, first of all, excuse me. I think how can academic English help you to study abroad? I think first of all, people need to know a little bit about our school. We are UIG English, and we are the offshore partner for, at the bottom here, we have UTS INSEARCH, University Technology Sydney. So what they do to prepare their students in English to go to university, and it doesn't have to be just UTS. They also go to other a la carte schools. We are the offshore partner. We teach exactly the same thing that gets taught in Sydney. Also, we are NIAS accredited. This is accreditation from showing that our school of the quality that we have for the school. And at the moment, there are only 2 schools in Indonesia that actually have this accreditation. Yeah. So as Tasim said, a little bit about my background. It makes me feel really old when he says I've had 30 years of this and 10 years of that. But I have lived in Indonesia for over 30 years, so I know a lot about Asia, Indonesia itself, and what students are like and some of the problems they face when they go abroad. So I'd like to start with, what do we really need? What do students do when they go abroad? We have to look at what they do, because then we can look at what do they really need to know when, in order to do those things. So we'll look at those 2 things first, and then I'd like to show you how the UIG's academic English can help you study abroad. And it's more of how that academic English can help you to understand the things you need to know so that you can do the things you'll need to do. So let's start out with, what do they actually do? Okay, regardless of anyone's major, you will end up having to write some papers. For some majors, it might be just a final paper at the end of class, but others, it might be one like every term. It could be many short papers, or it could be one very long paper, but you just can't get through university without writing papers. Okay. And then you also have to give presentations, and these presentations might be related to your paper or they might not, but there's different kinds of presentations you'll have to give, but somehow you'll have to get the information. Yeah. If people already have their masters or they have PhDs, they often do journals. It's really hard because your journal is quite long, and then all of a sudden you have to take all of that information and put it into a short presentation at a conference. So this is kind of giving the people the opportunity to take the information from your paper and put it into presentation, because that's what you'll end up doing when you're at university. And also, universities have many, many, many group discussions. I mean, yeah, the groups might be 3 people, it might be 5 people, and we'll look at what does that really require? It requires a lot more than just, oh, I only have to speak, more than that. And then you'll have tutorials, and we'll go through, this is when you have meetings with your tutors and they give you some feedback, and we'll look at that in more detail. Okay. So what do you need to know about writing papers? Okay. Obviously you need to know how it's organized overall. And I know even junior high, high school, they teach you, introduction in the body and the ending, but there's a bit more to it than that. Yeah. Each introduction will be slightly different according to the paper type you're writing, or paragraphs. It might be more than 1 paragraph. It could be 3 paragraphs. It depends on the type of paper you're giving. Then obviously, okay, now you have your individual paragraphs. Yes, I know I have to have topic sentence, but I think one of the harder things is supporting sentences. You have ideas, but how can you hook those ideas to the previous sentence or the previous paragraph? So you keep it you keep your paper flowing well by maybe connecting it through vocabulary or connecting it through grammar, but it makes you have to be able to connect each sentence to something else. And then your summary sentences, and this will be a variety of things. Like you could have summary, you could have conclusion, maybe you're making your closing statements. The harder things of writing papers are the little tiny things, yeah? And this is writing conventions, okay? One might be, okay, references for different types of sources. Do I get my sources from just a journal paper, or do you get it from a book written by someone in your major, or is it from someone on the internet? So there's different ways of making these references. And then the in-text citations, yeah? This could be either author prominent or information prominent, yeah? So in each reference type could have a different type of citation as well. And then how to avoid being biased, yeah? And this could, and then also, if you only use part of quotations, then do you still have to use citations or not? And then annotated bibliographies also. But I think the harder part of the writing conventions are the ones that make it so papers aren't accepted at conferences or journals aren't accepted, is because there's too many other little errors with them. And this might be the tenses that you use. You have to decide, there's different tenses that are used with different types of journals, and you have to be consistent throughout. There's parallel constructions, or some people call it parallel structure. There's punctuation is the hardest, yeah. Punctuation would be like your colons, your semicolons, your commas, and those are always really hard. And I think a lot of people just think, oh, I'll get by without it. But actually, no, you don't, because it makes it harder to understand. Subject-verb agreement. Ooh, subject-verb agreement. Editing, writing, how to improve clarity and conciseness. You will have to learn some skills. How can you edit yourself? Yeah, you won't always have someone to be reading your paper. Like here, mine is, this should be subject verb agreement. Sorry, that's a typo. So how can you edit this, you know, yourself? It's a skill that you'll need to learn how to do, a skill you have to learn, because not everyone can self-correct. They read what they think they typed, and, you know, it does take practice. Okay. Then we get to ethics. I think in many parts of Asia, ethics is not highly, what do you say? It's not highly prioritized, but in the West, it's very, very, very highly prioritized. If you write any paper and you have any information that's not your own, you must put a citation. If not, your papers can be rejected. Yeah, you might not pass that paper at university. So you have to respect the other humans who wrote those, or maybe animal subjects. If you're doing a paper on research that you did with animals. Also, there's accurate reporting of the research and findings. Yeah, you can't change anything. You can't, and that's where we come into things called misconduct. And that misconduct is fabrication. You're not giving the real information that you got from your research or your findings. Maybe your research didn't turn out exactly as you wanted it to. So you kind of change it. You can't do that. It's not ethical, because it's not what you really did. You can't falsify anything on your papers. You can't change it. And plagiarism, you can't copy other people's work. If you copy plagiarism, for many universities in the West, if you have plagiarism, that's just it, you're done. You don't get to study anymore. They don't play around with it. where people copy from the internet a lot. I think in Southeast Asia, it's not allowed in, you know, other countries when you go abroad to study. They're very, very serious about ethics and plagiarism. Okay. And as we said, when you're done writing your papers, you'll have to, you know, be able to present the information in a presentation. And quite often, your papers are a lot longer than you get to actually, they're quite long. In your presentations, you don't always have enough time to talk about everything. So again, you have to pick out what are the key issues. Yeah. And one thing about the presentation, giving presentations, is knowing characteristics of good slides. And it's usually what we say 7-6, no more than 7 words per line, no more than 6 lines per slide. I know it changes a little bit because you want to fit more on one slide, and you can't have slides where you just read from the slides, because otherwise people can read faster than you're talking. Yeah. So I really think that this is one of the things that I think is getting better. It's getting better around the world, but there are times when people still just read from the slide. Okay. Who's writing on my? Okay. And it's really good to learn about hesitation and pauses. This can enhance your presentation. If you say, okay, now I would like to talk about, now I would like to present, and everyone's like, yeah, what's next? And then you need to learn how to do the hesitations and pauses so that you get everyone's attention before you give very important information. And that is a skill, and there's different techniques that you can use. And part of that technique will be some of it set in stress. It could be word groupings. And you might have to know how to describe a graph, maybe how to evaluate some of the information that you've had in your paper. Yeah. Not everyone will, but quite often there's some kind of data that you're presenting or information that you're presenting. So you probably have a graph, and you'll have to be able to describe it. And describing that is usually the final of what you've already evaluated. So there's there's specific language you can use for that. And then also how to answer post-presentation questions. Sometimes questions are so long and you're really like, huh? It's quite difficult to respond to questions when you're in a presentation, because you're kind of like being asked on the spot for specific answers. Yeah. And then there's also like a 3-part question. Yeah. Somebody might give you a really long question, and there's part 1 and then there's part 2, and it's like, it is quite difficult to answer some of these. And I think it takes a skill, it takes practice, and it takes people being calm and thinking through, not having to rush and think that they need an answer right away. People are not walking dictionaries. They're sometimes you might not be able to answer the questions. You might want to say, oh, actually, I don't have that on the top of my head, but, you know, I could put on some people have their own card off on their blog, or they'll tell you where they could put the information and they could find it and share it with people. But it's not like you have to answer every single question people ask you. You might not have the answer. And it's better just to be honest and say, I'm sorry, I don't really have that answer, rather than try to go in a long circle and not answer it. Okay, and then what was the next thing we had? We had having group discussions. Yes, this is a lot more than just speaking. Okay. We've got skills needed. Okay, first you have to listen. So many people think, oh, I want to say this, I want to say that, I want to say this. But there's so much on thinking what they're going to say. They're not really actually listening to what the person is saying. Yeah? So the number 1 is listening. Then you can speak. Do you answer? Are you actually contributing to the conversation? Is it connecting to what the previous person has just said? And you might have to make some reasoning in there and think, oh, wait, maybe they are right. Maybe they aren't. And then that's part of your discussion. Don't just, okay, I listened to that. You have to actually absorb it. Turn taking. some people are very, what do you say? They take over the conversation. Well, a real good person on group discussion is somebody who can take turns. They can invite people into the conversation. They can ask people, oh, so, see whose name we had up here. We had the name Riri before. I say, oh, Riri, what's your opinion? Or Ikwan, what's your, what do you think of this? That is part of being a good speaker. And a good person in your discussion is not taking over, but getting other people, inviting them into the conversation as well. Okay, and then there's a lot of functional language. So that you might have to analyze the situation. You might, before you answer, there's language to persuade. There's giving reasons, agreeing, disagreeing. And these are just a few. There are many, many kinds of functions. But some people think, oh, group discussions, I like those. I only have to talk. There's a lot more to it, really. Okay, and then we have tutorials. Okay, this is a time when, you have to find out for your major, for your supervisor or your lecturer, how will your tutorials work? It might be a discussion-based type tutorial. Maybe it's a problem-solving type tutorial, yeah? Maybe it's just a review, but it's your job to know what kind you want. There's question and answers. Maybe you just see your tutor and you ask questions, they answer. Maybe it's just giving a review of what you've done, some feedback of what you've done. But each university, each lecture, and each topic is going to be different, but you have to be ready for tutorials. You have to ask questions. You have to be ready. It's not the teacher just giving you only information. Okay? Okay.
Aku lagi online, udah.
So, okay, can you guys still mute yourselves, please? Okay, so now the question is, how can UIG's academic English help you? First of all, we have 6 levels of 200 hours each. And you think, whoa, that's 1,200 hours of English. The majority of the people do not start at level 1. I would say we have some that we've only had a few level, maybe a level 2 if they're quite young, but usually most of our people come in at level 3, 4, or 5. Okay. For level 3, if you finish level 3, you can go straight into a foundations course without having an IELTS, because we all know to go abroad to study, you have to have some kind of test like IELTS or TOEFL. This, you won't need one of those high stake exams, but if you finish the AE3 course, 200 hours, and you pass, you can go straight to the foundation course. If you do level 4, you can go straight to a diploma. Now, if you're going for undergraduate, some universities will accept you within a level 4, but you'll still have to do 10 weeks of English at that university. So sometimes level 4 will also get you into undergraduate with the condition you will have to do 10 more weeks of studying. Yeah. Now, with those 10 weeks, some people have to weigh the difference. If we're still going to be online, yeah, you're better to do as much English as you can now, because most of you're living in your own country. It's cheaper. You're living usually at home. Yeah. But if you do it abroad, if you wait to study English when you go abroad, you have to pay to go abroad, you have to pay to live there, and you don't get to start university until your English is at the right level. Yeah. So if you go on to level 5, then you can go straight to undergraduate and post degrees like masters and PhDs. If it's PhDs with level 5, you have to check with your university. Some of them require a specific grade, like they don't want just a pass grade, they want a slightly higher grade. AE6 is the most relevant for anyone who's doing a PhD. It's very, very relevant for someone who's doing a PhD, and for people who are doing masters with a research component. Not all masters have research components, some have coursework. I'm not going to say a lot about AE6 yet, because I will add that at the very end. And I put that at the end so that If some people have other things to do, they, you know, they don't have to stay, but they can. And those who are really, really interested can stay. Okay. So each, as we said, each one of these levels is 200 hours. So let's look at what components are there. What makes up an academic English AE course? So we have part A and we have part B. They're both 100 hours. Each one has 3 portfolio tasks, and they have what we call a what, which is your written assessment task. They both have that, and they both have SAT, which is your speaking assessment task. They both have an IELTS component. The IELTS component is a mini, because IELTS only gets you into a university. It doesn't help you to be successful at a university. So this is where some people who are going to England or they go to, you know, Germany, they still take our course, but they know they'll have to take an IELTS test. And doing all of the what and the portfolios already helps them with all their writing skills. So they usually do very well in their writing and IELTS. But what this supplementary is to help people get some of the tips and tricks and things so that they can do well if they decide to go that route. If everyone is going pathway, we don't have to do much of the IELTS. But even those who are going pathway, you still get practice with different skills. And again, it's reading, writing, listening, speaking. And then we have quiz every unit. And then we have obviously final tests and both. Now, when we get to the final test of part A, it's reading, vocabulary, grammar, and listening. And at the end, you will get your scores, but this is only halfway through the course. So if somebody's not doing well in one area, it's okay. You just know the second half of the course, that's the area you have to work on. It's the part B here that is the important one, that this is your final grades. But if you don't do well on these others and really work hard, you're not going to be successful on part B, because it's just adding, excuse me, you're just adding to your knowledge from part A. Let's look at some of these individual tasks. Okay, portfolios, they prepare you for your what? You must do your portfolios. There are 3 and you must do them. They are only pass fail. But if you pass but you don't do any portfolios, you will still fail the course. There is something that it's mandatory you do it, but it's only pass fail. And that's because all of the portfolios help you with your written assessment tasks. Yeah. In the written assessment task, as it says in A, you make an outline. Okay, you hand it in, you get feedback. Then you take that outline and you make your draft. Yeah. Draft, you have to upload it to UTS INSEARCH online. They have a copy. Your teacher has a copy. It will tell you what % of your paper is the same as the internet. What % of your paper is the same as other students? What part of your paper is the same as other people at the university? And some of it will be the same, because when you're doing a writing, you're often using the same author. So there might be a quote, or there might be the referencing, some of that will be the same. Yeah, but it will tell you what percentage is the same, and that's to do with plagiarism. And if it's too high, then you'll have to get rid of that before the final, or you won't pass. So after you hand in your draft, as it says, you get written feedback and you get one-on-one tutorials. Then you have, the teachers will put on what I call tentative scores. They will say, if you were to hand that in, that's the score. That's where you're at now. That's not your final score though. So if you do really low in one area, you know on your final draft, that's the area you will have to work on. Excuse me. Then you have to go and write your final draft. Then you upload that to UTS INSEARCH and you're done. But you will still get written feedback on your paper. You will still get one-to-one feedback, and you'll get your final scores for that as well. Just some of the types of essays, because we were talking about, yes, you have a body to your essay. I'm sorry, you have an introduction, you have a body, you have a conclusion, but it's all different. So different types of essays have slightly different, you know, How many body paragraphs you have will be depend on the type of essay you're writing. And here we have some of them we cover are problem solution, evaluative report. You might have to look at somebody's journal or report and then you evaluate it. And then you have comparative, and then literature reviews, opinion and persuasive essays. Yeah, so these are just a few that you'll be working with, okay? And then the next component was your speaking assessment tasks, yeah? So with the speaking assessment task, okay, part A is usually an individual or group presentation. It's depending on whether it's individual or group is what level you're at. And in part B for levels 1, 2, 3, 4, I know 1, 2, 3 is definitely a group speaking test. 4, I think it's a, I can't remember if it's a speaking or presentation, but like 5 and 6 is definitely a presentation, and that could like individual presentation. So you have to have articles, you have to analyze the articles, you write a paper, and then you have to present that. Okay, and this is exactly what you will have to do it in classes at university. So you're not just learning English is what I'm trying to say, and it's also trying to give you the skills that you'll need to be successful at university. Our goal isn't just to get you into a university. Our goal is to help you be successful through your university, okay? And then we have the IELTS supplementary, as we said. It will focus on each element: speaking, reading, writing, which one did I forget? Listening. Tips and tricks for taking the IELTS. And we'll have some writing practice and speaking practice, actually, and some feedback. But again, as I said, by doing the written assessment tasks and getting all the feedback and doing group discussions, it will help you with the writing practice and speaking practice for IELTS as well. Most of the papers that are the written assessment tasks that we have are, I can't actually remember, like 500 to 700 words, 800 words. We're on an IELTS. You only have to write 150 and 250. So the papers that you write with UIG are a lot longer. So if you can write those, you won't have problems with the IELTS. Okay. And details of the other common quizzes. Yeah, 1 for each unit, 1 to 4, and then units 6 to 9. And these, yeah, just to see where students are strong, where they're weak. Each student has different problems. And maybe if a class has all have not understood, then maybe the teacher either didn't cover it or they need to recover it. Students didn't quite understand it. It's very beneficial if you do the quizzes because they help you a lot with your final vocabulary and grammar tests. But the quizzes are not, they don't have anything to do with your scores. So if you happen to do really poorly in a quiz, it's not going to affect your final grade. It just shows, oh, wow, there's a bit that you've missed. Maybe some people have missed a couple classes and they missed some key classes. Okay. And then we have the final test, yeah? And all the tests are graded individually and they all have a percentage. So maybe like the listening might be like 15% of your overall grade. Maybe reading is 20% of your overall grade. Maybe your writing is like 35% of the overall grade. And then you have, speaking, that it all has a certain percentage to it and it's all put together and then you get your overall score. So if somebody happens to get F1, which is lower level, for listening, it doesn't mean you're going to fail. And we have people who are in part A, and maybe they get a low, they get like an F1. It's okay. You still can do part B, but it means that's what you really need to work on in part B. Part B scores are your final scores. Okay. These are the grades that we use. High distinction, distinction credit, pass. Then there's F1, F2, F3 is fail. F1 is pretty borderline. Maybe there's just a few problems with the number of correct sentences. A lot of this between pass and fail is your total number of correct sentences. So if you have quite a few grammar errors, then yeah, it will bring you down to F1, but it's all, you have another 100 hours to work on this. And it's different than some people might be familiar with the US system, where they say, oh, I got a D, and D is bad because their top score is A, then B, it goes down to C, down to D, down to F. No, C and D are very good in this system that we use, because it's credit and distinction that's higher. What you want, you need a pass. Yeah. So this is your standard. So if you're getting credit, distinction, or even high distinction, you're doing very, very well. Okay. So let's just look at this. You won't be able to read everything that you have on this small slide. I just wanted to show you what you would have for your written criteria. Your what criteria, so written assessment task. What do we actually use to give you a grade? Well, we look at content and task achievement. Have you completed the task? Like, do you have enough word count? If not, if you're minus or over 10%, 5%, you get minus certain grades on task achievement and your content. Yeah. And then we also have the structure, and meaning, do you use body paragraphs? Do you have introduction? Do you have a summary? Cohesion and coherence, do you have that? The supporting sentences, do they match what the topic sentence is about? Does that whole paragraph fit into what you put into your introduction? Yeah. And then vocabulary and lexical resource. So how wide of lexical resources do you have? You just keep repeating the same words over and over and over again? Yeah. And then we have grammar and sentence structure. Yeah. Yeah, that's your tenses. And then part of this is your referent. Are you just repeating words again, or can you use the words like them, it, can you refer back to other things or do you have to repeat that word over and over? And then we also have what we call process of independent learning, meaning when you do your draft and you get feedback, when you hand in your final paper, did you actually listen to that feedback? Did you try to change anything? So how much can you actually process this independently? How much can you learn through what you get as feedback? Yeah. And these were our grades: high distinction, distinction, pass, credit, pass. And then the same thing, here's F3, F2, F1. Yeah. So here it's like, for task achievement, there might be many problems with paraphrasing. Paraphrasing is if you're going to put somebody else's idea into your paper, you have to be able to paraphrase it. And if you're just copying, it's way too much. You have too high of similarity. So you have to learn how to put other people's, but that's, something you can do. Yeah. Okay. And then we also have, for speaking, we have interaction skills. This is where I'm saying, can you invite people into the conversation? Can you get other people's opinion? Is it just I speak, then you speak, then the third person speak, or do we actually take turns and have a real conversation? We also grade fluency, coherence, grammar, vocabulary, and pronunciation. And again, there's high distinction, distinction, credit, pass. There's also F1, F2, F3. I didn't put that one on here. Okay, so that's what the academic English A1 to A5, it actually is the same for A1 to A6, but A6 is slightly different. This is a specialty course for people doing their PhD or master's, but it was also developed, specially designed by teachers with PhD. Some have masters. And a CELTA is a certificate for English language teaching to adults. They now call it certificate of English language to speakers of other languages, meaning as not your first language. And this is very important because some people know a lot about English, but they don't know the methodology for teaching. And this course is an international course that actually teaches people how to, different methodologies used in the classroom so students can learn better. And by doing that, all of these materials we have also incorporate good methodology for teaching. Yeah. They were also IELTS examiners, so they know the different criteria that are used in like high stakes exams. And they're for students who want PhD or master's. Yeah. And it doesn't, sorry, it doesn't have to be just for master's and PhD. I've had other people who were doing undergraduate still, but they had such good English that they did AE5 and then AE6. The only suggestion is if you're going to do AE6, you have to have pretty good, yeah, you already have to have an IELTS 6. And as we said, this isn't to get you just into the schools, it's to make you successful at the schools, yeah? I will show you some things here, what you will study during the AE6 course. So the verb form and prepositions for academic background and academic qualification statement. So if you're going to make a statement about yourself and about your academic background, what verb form should you use and what prepositions? Subject-verb agreement starts a lot at AE3. So we have AE3, 4, 5, but 6 has a lot to do with research, and research uses a lot of words from other languages, yeah? And they don't know if it's singular or plural, and these are a lot of errors that people make. Again, parallel structure, tense choice in literature reviews. If you have to do literature review, there are in our AE5 also they have to do 5 and 6, you do literature reviews. You have to read some literature, you do a review. So what tense should you use? Verb forms in written account of research methods. So if I'm going to have a proposal, what research methods will I use? So what verb tenses versus completed study. So if it's a proposal, obviously you haven't done the research yet. But maybe other people have done some research, so that could be some past simple or present perfect to show what the results have been. But your methods haven't been done yet. And then versus completed here, this completed study. Grammatical patterns used to recommend areas for future research. Yeah, when you get done with your paper, okay, you've got your research, you've got your results, but maybe you don't have all the answers yet, so you could recommend other areas. And when you're doing research, you come along, you come and, while you're researching, you actually find different areas. Oh, that's kind of good. It doesn't fit my research, but that would be something good that's connected. And you kind of expand other ideas that could, that could help you expand your research. That could be for future. Okay. And for reading, okay, you'll still do reading, but what kind of readings will you do? You'll learn how to navigate journal articles, and journal articles can be very, very, very long. Yeah. And I think for many of us, how can you get the real purpose of that, academic purpose from that article? So you'll learn how to pick out the important parts. Getting some of the tasks you do is getting overall sense of empirical study, journal articles, reading to identify, as it says here, different sections of as we said, they're very long articles. So how can you get a sense of, particular academic purpose? Every different purposes might read the same article, but for different reasons, okay? Okay, so unpacking dense text. Yeah, as I said, many texts are quite long. You might not be able to read everything. So how can you unpack that and get the basic ideas? Yeah. Reading to take notes on main ideas, reading to identify author position, and yeah, so that's so far. Okay, only a couple more here. Oh, sorry. In writing, we've got stating your purpose, significant, and why is your proposal study significant? Yeah, why is it important for you to be doing this study? Definitely punctuation. This is one of the most difficult things, students, yeah? I know you've studied in school capitalization, commas, semicolons, but I don't think in basic writing we use them properly, or maybe as much as we should. Use of in-text citations, yeah, and also annotated bibliography entry. Also, emails to supervisors in response to feedback. You'll have lots of emails with your supervisor when you're doing research, and you'll need to know how to respond to them and how quickly you should be responding to them, not waiting a week. You know, supervisors are very busy. They have their regular classes. They have their more than one student they're supervising. So when they give you feedback, you know, you've got to really be on it and get to them right away with emails to keep on top of things. Listening. Introduce yourself in an academic context. And then listening for correspondence. Yeah, I think listening to things you have in like now, what I'm saying with what is actually on the PowerPoint slides. Some people, when they start giving presentations, they go off on a tangent and they go on and on about something like, what are you going on about? This isn't what the presentation's about. So we need to make sure we stick and connect with what's on the slide. And yeah, we also can identify different structures of a talk. As we said, when you're writing papers, there's different ways to write introduction. There's different number of body of the paragraph, and there's more than one way to finish your concluding paragraph. And all of that's the same with speaking. Your speaking, it correlates with your writing. So we need to also identify different structures we can use for speaking, for giving a talk similar to what I'm doing today. Okay, talk at a research colloquium, and that is like Indonesia has a lot of, not Indonesia, but just Asia, Southeast Asia has a lot of conferences. They're having lots and lots of online conferences now because everyone's at home. They think, you know, the world's changing in the EFL world. And just people aren't able to go abroad to study at the moment. So some are starting online. So there's so many things, so many talks, and a lot of research is being done now. It's opened up a new world to research. Is online learning as effective? Is this, so much? And so we will learn different ways to talk about that as well. And postgraduate seminars, you will definitely have to do some seminars after you graduate. And panel discussions, issues in reporting research. If you've done a really good paper and you've got a really good research, so quite often you'll be asked to speak places. You might be part of a panel to to have discussions. And then you will also have a TED lecture. It will listening to distinguish between what is fact, what is opinion, what is speculation. So all of these are listenings for you to practice what you will be doing in the real world and what you'll be doing at university. Yeah. Okay, what are some pluses for AE? Well, it's direct entry to over 70 universities, and I will show you a couple slides at the end of some of the universities. I can't fit them all on one slide. It teaches you IELTS skills if you are going that pathway through your WATs and SATs, so your written assessment tasks will help you with the writing part of IELTS. And also the reading, because when you write your paper, you have to do dense readings and pick out the key items. So that will help you with your reading in IELTS. And then for speaking also, you've got your speaking assessment task. And in order to complete that, you have to do listening. Yeah. It teaches the process of writing. It's not just, okay, here, write this. We teach you the process, outline, draft, and what goes into each part. Okay, and then as I said, you do presentations, group work, the same as university, and also you do all the skills that you do in AE will also be the same skills in IELTS. Oh, I can also add speaking to that as well, yeah? Okay, for ours, we often have classes Monday to Fridays, 4 hours a day. So that's 5 days a week for 20 hours. And it depends on the group. Some do 8 Indonesian Jakarta time would be 9 to about 1:15, depending on how long of a break we take. So it's like 9 to 1 plus the break time. If we have people from other countries, it might not start till 10. So it could go 10 to 2 plus the break time. but we also, you know, it depends on who signs up and who does what. We also have, you could do 8 to 12 hours a week. That takes you 17 to 25 weeks to finish, or you can do 3 to 5 hours a week. I'm sorry, 3 to 5 times a week, and that's 2 to 4 hours for each class. Yeah, so that depends on the people taking the course. Here's some of the universities. I'll leave that up there for a minute for you. This is slide 1. I have others. These are all alphabetical order, that's why. Okay, I'll give you a minute just to kind of read through those.
Yeah, the first slide is for Australia, jadi ya.
Yes, this is for Australia. They're all for Australia. You know, and Curtin University is a very popular one, but Curtin wants you to have a 7 overall. So you need to have an AE5 with usually credit level or an AE6. So you need to find out where you want to go, what you need. Okay, next slide. Other universities in Australia are still some of these.
Okay.
We added the RMITs added. There was one in Tasmania. We just added one as well.
Yeah, from Canberra also.
Yeah, Canberra was on the, yeah, here's Canberra. It's a very popular one. I think University of South Australia is kind of a popular one. Here's some others. Now we do have some, and as you know, if you decide you want to go somewhere else that's not on the list, you can ask UIG, and what they do is they get Sydney to talk to the university. It takes a process. You can't ask and get an answer in a day, but the only way we getting more of these universities is people want to go to those universities. So then UTS INSEARCH will approach the university. Will you accept our program? They have to look at our syllabus. They have to look at what's done. If they agree, then there's an agreement between one dean to the next dean, and then, okay, now we can add you to the list. So it is a process, but this is how we have gained this many people, just by people wanting to go to these universities. Okay. I think that might be the last slide there. Oh no, these are the UK ones. And a lot of these are for like the diploma programs. So if you go into these as diploma, they will help you get into, and you complete the programs at these universities, it will help you to get into your undergraduates.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, Bapak Ibu, if you have any questions before we start to quiz, please
Yeah.
prepare.
Now, if they have any questions,
we are going to have a Q&A after the quiz, jadi it's okay.
you want to do quiz first, or would you like to do Q&A first?
Oke, Bapak Ibu, apabila ada pertanyaan, if you have any questions, please unmute your voice and switch on your video. It's okay.
I can stop share for a while so they can see. Oh, they can see me, can't they?
Yeah, they
I
can.
can always see them.
Okay. Okay, we go to the next slide maybe. Jadi, they need to refresh.
No.
Okay.
Do they want to do quiz first or the questions first? Are there any questions?
Okay, maybe after the quiz. Questions from
Hassan.
Hasna.
Hassan. Can you switch on the video?
Can I turn off my video?
Okay, it's okay.
Okay. Okay. My question is, what is different between AE and IELTS?
That's our next share. That's our next share session.
Okay.
And then,
you know, okay, next question. Yeah.
Could we only take 100 hours for AE?
Okay. Yes, you can take 100 hours of AE, part A, but you won't get a certificate from UTS if you do that. We do have people who, I've had people take AE5A, and they get the idea of doing the writing and the speaking, then he went off to Germany. So He only wanted to practice his own English. He only wanted to learn some skills for writing. He did not want the certificate from UTS INSEARCH. So yes, it is possible to do 100 hours. Yes. And that was Husnul. How do you know? Hassanul, yeah.
Hassanul Fahmi.
And Hassanul,
Fahmi.
are you still there? Hassanul?
Yes, I'm still
Okay.
here. Yes,
And the difference between AE and IELTS is that's our next share session. But just a quick answer to that is IELTS is only trying to get you into a university. They only teach you basic writing to get you to a certain grade of writing. They don't teach you all the writing conventions. They don't teach you how to do for different types of writings, like problem solving, the ones I mentioned before. They only teach you a basic, a lot of it's comparatives, because you compare this, compare that. So it's very minimal, but it's only the basic to get you into university. It does not help you with being successful at university. But I'll tell you more differences in the next share session. That's a whole share session. A good question, yeah?
I have more question anyway.
Okay, yeah, one more, and then anyone else have a question?
For how long the certificate can be expired?
For UTS INSEARCH? Yeah, is it 1 year, 2 years? For AE, the certificate. I think if you finish, I think it's 2 years, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes.
So if you from the time you get your certificate and the date on it, it's still good for 2 years to get in.
Yeah.
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 Okay, thank you.
But it's similar to what an IELTS test. IELTS is good for 2 years as well, isn't it? Same.
Yes.
So very good question, Hassanul. Anyone else have a question?
In the chat box.
Can I have please?
For the next Ibu Riris?
Yeah, can I have a question? Yes,
yes.
Okay.
Can you?
First of all,
can you switch on the
is
video?
Ibu Riri, yeah?
Hi, Miss Jodie. Okay.
Hello.
Why I attend this webinar is because since I'm an English teacher, I have some students who have an interest to study abroad. Yeah. Since this is secondary school, my students often ask me, Miss Iris, if we are from Kalimantan, South Kalimantan, so what we have to prepare for us to have to study abroad, since this is university and we can, this is a first step to have like IELTS. Yeah, this is one of requirement like IELTS, and another is one of requirement to have study abroad. So what is your opinion for students in secondary school or in junior to have to study abroad?
If they're junior high, the junior high is
have to prepare.
Well, the junior high is the main thing is focus on just developing your English, getting your English grammar to a high enough level where you can quite control the grammar errors to get, I know they're not always a reading culture here in Southeast Asia, but they have to read, because it really expands their vocabulary. And the more vocabulary they have, the more they'll be able to say. So if they're in junior high, that's the main thing. Just basic skills, reading, listening, writing, speaking. If they're in high school, the same, but maybe a bit more attention on a bit of their writing. And I still think reading is one of the most important things, because the problem we have with people who just come out of high school and they want to do our course is a lot of them, they don't have this world knowledge. Like you say, you're in Kalimantan, right?
Oh, yeah.
And if they're in Kalimantan, they don't really read about the world. And what do they know about water scarcity in the world? What do they know about, different companies what are they doing around the world? And I think that's our biggest challenge is when people they're out of high school, some of them are worldly traveled. Others, they're not, but they've done lots of reading, so they know a lot, but they don't always have the vocabulary and the world knowledge to really participate, because Some here, they want to read YouTube, they want to watch YouTube and, you know, everything else. They don't do enough reading. And
Yep.
you can read a lot with your phone as well. You don't have to be reading a book. If they say, oh, but I don't have any books to read, there's so much stuff they can read online. Do a lot of listenings like TED Talks, and they have TED for education. They have TED Talks for kids. They have TED Talks. So if their English is a bit lower, do TED Talks for kids. Start at a lower level. And, you know, some of those topics are very interesting for junior high and high school. So those are just a few suggestions I have just, you know, on the top of my head.
Thank you.
So I hope that helps.
Thank you, Miss Jodeen.
You're welcome.
Okay,
Any
for the
other
next
questions?
questions, we have Pak Febriman Jody.
Okay,
Can you read in the chat box? I have a planning to continue my study to abroad for PhD. So what the requirement if I want to apply?
yeah, so apply for, you mean the university? Well,
Yes.
every university is different. So I have no idea where you want to go for PhD. So I think you have to, first thing you have to do is pick a university. You have to look at what their requirements are. And I know for PhD, one of the requirements will definitely be a high level of English. We at UIG have taught many scholarship students. I'm sorry, we have taught many students who have gained a scholarship to go abroad. And some of these were even English language teachers, and they checked in at AE5, which is like advanced, and then they did AE6, and even some of them struggled a little bit, you know. It's not an easy task to do, that you need a lot of time to prepare. Start your English now, and your life will be so much easier, because everything will be in English no matter what country you go to, unless you can speak the language of that country.
Okay.
Yeah. But I can't tell you exactly what you, I mean, you definitely have to prepare your English, but the process of it is, one, go online, find your university, go under PhD. It will tell you the requirements that you have, that you will need to do. But every university is slightly different. You'll definitely have to put in a proposal, which, you know, like what you might want to do in the future. And that is something we do in AE6, but yeah, I can't tell you. In each one, if you put in your information, some universities, if it's more than 3 pages long, it's not accepted, it's out the door.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Actually,
questions? Yeah.
In the chat box is enough, Jadi. Before detail about the preparations of research workshop, they maybe Pak Febriman can join our research workshop or AE6, jadi ya.
Yes.
Ya. Oke, sambil menunggu Bapak atau Ibu yang ingin bertanya, kita we directly move to the next slide, jadi.
So we go to the quiz?
Yes.
Okay, so you want to have
what
a quiz.
Will they get for the quiz?
Well, I thought you were doing the
scholarship. Yeah.
Well, okay, yeah, you can get a scholarship, and I think I will hand it to Tasim to tell you what you could get for some kind of scholarship.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not scholarship. I guess it's partial scholarship.
Yes. Of course. Okay. We can start today. Yeah.
So we have quiz number 1. In this quiz, I will write down. Let me see how many questions I have here. Forgotten. I have 4 questions. Yeah, I'll have 4 different sentences. You have to decide if it's correct or if it's wrong. So in the chat box with your name, just put number 1, is it C or W? Number 2, C or W? 3, C. But you must do all of them at once. Don't put number 1 and then number 2. You must answer all at once. You put number 1, 2, 3, 4, only in one send. You can't send each one separately. You must send them all together. Okay?
So they answer on the chat box, yeah?
They answer in the chat box, but they must give the answers to all 4 at once. And the first person to have them all correct is the one that will win.
Okay.
Okay, are we ready? Here's the sentences.
Yeah.
Ready, set.
Everyone? Yeah.
Are you ready? Let's go.
Oke. Jadi ada 4 pertanyaan, bisa dijawab semuanya. Jadi nomor 1 jawabannya correct or wrong?
No, you must put number
2,
1,
3,
number
4.
2, number 3, number 4 all at once. So Emmy, you
Yeah.
need all of them. You can't have just one. You must have 4 answers there.
Yeah, 4 answers.
Continue.
Okay. We will give 3 minutes to answer.
Yeah, they need
please.
time. They need time to look at it.
Yeah,
I'm just
yeah,
watching the chat box to see who gets it right.
yeah. Okay.
This isn't easy. These are the hard ones. Don't put just number 1. You need number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, yeah? So I should have 1 C or W, 2 C or W, 3 C or W, 4 C or W, then enter. You can't watch 20 people with all of them. You must put all 4 at once. Exactly, Ikwa. You got all 4, but they're not quite right. Okay, let's see.
Okay, Ihwa, Pak Ihwa, Bu Ari, thank you so much. Ibu Mustika Dewi. Okay, Pak Hasanul Fahmi, thank you so much.
I don't know if I've seen any with the correct answer yet. Have you? Let's see. I don't have. Ikwa, not quite. Ari, no. Mustika. Let's see. Yes, we have a correct one. Hassan Al Fahmi is the first correct one.
Okay,
Hey.
congratulations, Pak Hasanul Fahmi.
He's got the correct one. Okay, so everyone can start. He's got correct one. Anyone else? Still looking.
Okay.
Nope, I think you're the only one. Okay.
Yeah.
So can I tell them what the answers are?
Yes, of course. Jadi,
Number 1 is correct. Number 1 is correct because in scientific writing, according to most academic publications or manuals, the style guides, whatever you want to call them, data is a plural countable noun. So your verb is also plural. There's no S on challenges, okay? Number 2, the answer was correct because phenomena is the plural of phenomenon, N-O-N. So if it's the plural, occur is correct. If it is the phenomenon occurs, that yeah, this is what I was talking about, subject verb agreement. When you get to the higher levels, is quite difficult. Number 3 is wrong because we often use words like, here we have as well as, or words like with, together with, including. Maybe we have words like accompanied by. What else could we use? In addition to, all of those do not change the number of the subject. So for number 3, the subject is the percentage. Yeah. And the percentage, so increase the price. Okay. Number 4 is correct. Neither the students nor the teacher was. And you have to look at the verb. And what is the noun that is closest to the verb? It's teacher. Teacher is singular, so the verb is singular. If you had neither the teacher nor the students, then I would say were, whatever, yeah? But if it's joined by or nor, the verb agrees with the noun that is closer. Okay, are we ready for quiz 2?
quizzes.
Okay, so quiz 2. You have to complete each sentence with a suitable word. Yeah, and I will watch because there could be more than one answer. There's only 3 sentences. So you will put number 1, the word you think, 2, the word you think, 3, the word you think, then enter, not one by one. Okay,
Okay.
ready, let's go.
Okay. Let's start. Okay.
Watch my Zoom.
Oke, Bapak Ibu bisa dijawab kira-kira apa kata yang sesuai untuk kuis ini.
It'll take them a while to read it and get good answer, so we'll give you some time. Okay, let's see, Ari. Yes. I think Ari could be the winner here.
Okay.
Ari has focus. Focus, yes. No, not the focus of my study. No, number 2 is not right. So, not quite. Let's see who else is here. No. People are having trouble with number 2. Okay, I will give it to.
Wait a moment, jadi we have
Well,
to
no,
wait.
I've got a right answer, but it's the same person again. Not quite the answer I wanted, but it's acceptable. It's Hassanul again. So I need someone else.
So,
Anyone else? Everyone's got number 1 right, I think. Pretty much. Nobody has the exact words yet I was looking for, because there's a better word.
okay.
Anyone keep going? Take another stab at it, as we say. Try it again. Some of you have answered very close.
Okay, Pak Kiantoro.
Oh, yes. Who's Kiantoro? Yes, exactly what we wanted. So I think Kirantoro. Okay. Okay.
It's fine.
Yes.
We find the
So
best
number
answer?
1 is the topic of my PhD. It's not my
Okay.
thesis, just the topic. Your whole thing is your thesis, yeah? But you have a topic of your thesis. So this is the topic of my PhD. And instead of number 2, the range, it's more, I would accept range, but scope is a better word. The scope of my study has narrowed, because scope and narrowed are actually collocations, words that go together. Yeah. And then the last one is field. So number 1, topic. Number 2 is scope. And number 3 is field. Okay.
Okay.
Number 2, some of you put range. Yeah. Good also. I would probably accept that as well, but scope is actually a better word. So the winner is, who was the winner?
Kiantoro, Pak Kiantoro.
Okay.
Okay. Do you have the last one, Judy?
Well, I have, do you want to ask one of the last ones?
Yes, it's okay.
Okay. I have one more, quiz 3. This is only one answer. So the first person to put the answer in the box and who hasn't already won. Yeah, ready? Here we go. First question. How many levels of academic English has UIG got?
Yeah, how many levels?
Ari has 6 right away. Mustika, Dewi, 6.
Good.
Yes, they all have 6. Yay, they were listening. Well done. So the first person was
Ibu Ari, yeah? Okay.
So Ibu Ari. Is that Ibu Ari?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Excellent. Do you want to do any more or not?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So number 1, yes, it's 6. Excellent. Okay. Question number 2, the next question for quiz 3. Only one answer? Yes, we want more. I like that. Well done. Okay. So question number 2, it's only one answer again. Are you ready? Fingers on the keyboard. Here we go. What levels of AE can students use to have direct entry? What levels do we need?
Into universities,
Into
yeah?
universities, yeah.
Not a college. Two, three, four, okay.
But what levels? Not the number of levels, what levels? There's more than one level. What level? What levels? So more than one answer. You need levels. Is it 1? Is it 2? Is it 3? Is it 4? Is it 5? What levels of AE? So is it level 1? Is it level 2? Is it level 1 and 2? You have to type them all in. Because levels here is plural. You need more than one level. Not only level 2. Level 2 is not one of the levels. Okay. So we have 6 levels. You told me we have 6 levels. Of those 6 levels, which ones can get you into university?
Okay.
Because it says
From
what
what
levels?
levels to what level?
Levels is more than one level. So it's not just,
Okay.
it's not level 2. Karima's really close. She said 4 to 6. Yes. No. One more. More than 4, 5, 6. 4, 5, 6 get you into the, yes, Karima, yay. 3 to 6. Remember, 3 gets you into the foundation. 4 gets you into diploma. 5 gets you into undergraduate, postgraduate, and 6 can get you into postgraduate. So levels 3, 4, 5, and 6. So we have 4 levels that can help you to get straight into universities. So yay,
Okay.
Karima
Karima Rahmadina. Okay, Mas Jenis and Bima, you can write the name ya. Kita ada 4 orang yang mendapatkan scholarship hari ini. We have the last one, jadi.
Okay, one more question. So
Okay.
if you haven't won yet, get ready. Just 1 second here.
Yeah.
Okay. Are we ready?
1, 2,
Here we
3,
go. Number 3, the last one.
4.
Make sure
Okay.
we read the question first. How many hours is each AE level?
So easy.
No, it's not 100. That's not 200. Yay. Who had 200? Ihwa. Because it's part A and part B. One level is A and B. So it's 200 hours. Ikwa. Yay. Woohoo.
We found.
So Ikwa. So how many hours
Okay.
is each level? Part A is 100. Part B is 100. So it's 200 hours. 200. Yeah.
Oh, okay,
So
Pak Ihwah,
Ihwa.
congratulations. Okay, actually, Pak Ihwah, can you write your email and your phone number, and also who is the first
They
one?
don't have to do it to everyone. Click off of everyone and click it
Privately, yeah.
to host, Tasim Akbar host, and
Yes.
put in your name and email.
And also Pak Hasadul Fahmi.
And Karima.
Karima. Ibu Karima, Pak Kiantoro, and also
Ari, was it Ibu Ari?
Ibu Ari.
Yeah.
And
Okay. Any more questions from anyone? This was to show you some stuff that you will be studying. So if you didn't get all the answers right on the question 1 and 2, good, then maybe it'd be worth joining our classes. It's not your basic everyday subject verb agreement type things. These are, like phenomena, phenomenon. Somebody put in there, datum is singular, yeah, but we call it as data is your plural. Okay, can I stop my oh. Yeah, I can stop share now, yeah?
yeah.
Can try, is that one correct? I can leave that on?
Yes. Okay, thank you so much, Judy. Bapak Ibu, if you do not have
other
some questions, we are going to go to the next activities.
Okay, I'm gonna stop share. I'll still stay on until you're done, in case there's a few. Okay, it's all yours. Wow, look at everyone. I want to get a photo.
Oh, oke. Oke, Bapak Ibu mungkin bisa di-on-kan untuk videonya. Kita akan mengambil foto ya.
Yeah, if you put your photos on, we want to take a video. Hi,
Yeah.
Dedis.
Hi.
Are you at university or where are you? Okay, are we ready? Wow, we have more than one page. I'll do this page first.
Okay.
Here we go.
Wait a minute.
Karima doesn't have hers on. Karima, where are you?
Bu Ana.
There's one. And I've got,
Okay.
wait. Two. I don't want to have that on there. Wait. One of them had a,
Okay. Maybe some of them cannot switch on the camera, but we try our best to take a picture.
I really wanted to do this with showing you a nice forest in the background today, but the lighting in the sun was too bright.
Yeah.
This is great signal. I'm in the middle of a forest, actually.
Yeah. Okay, thank you so much, Bapak Ibu. Before we finish our sessions today, saya ingin menginformasikan beberapa hal. Wait. Oke, kita memiliki event setiap minggunya. Jadi untuk hari ini kita sudah menyelesaikan our info sessions 2. For the next week, in the same day, di hari Rabu tanggal 16 September, we are going to have an IELTS writing skills, tips and trick in IELTS writing skills. We are going to have Miss Rita Yuhadi. She is one of our teachers, our teacher also. And then the next week, on the Saturday, we are going to have I will inform about the academic writing conventions, but for the next Wednesday, we are going to have a sharing sessions with UIG English. If you are going to ask more detail about academic English or other program in UIG English, you can follow and you can join the sharing sessions. This is one-on-one sessions, so don't be shy. Just share what you want and what you need in English development. And also, Jodeen will conduct our info session 3, belajar atau bekerja ke luar negeri dengan atau tanpa IELTS. Is it possible? And the answer will be answered by Jodeen September 30 ya. Lalu untuk bulan Oktober ini kita juga masih akan ada workshop juga. Ini workshop 3. Kita akan ada improving your IELTS speaking skill. Ini juga akan bersama Miss Rita nanti. Nah, untuk selanjutnya mengenai VEPT or English Assessment Test, rekan saya Loli akan mendeskripsikan untuk teman-teman semuanya. Silahkan Mbak Loli.
Iya. Selamat siang semua. Jadi saya,
Mbak Loli.
Ya, terima kasih Mas Tasim. Saya akan menjelaskan sebelum mengikuti program kami itu ada tahap-tahapnya, yaitu pertama jika tidak mempunyai IELTS atau TOEFL itu bisa ambil assessment test atau VEPT, yaitu Version English Assessment Test di kami. Program ini yang mengeluarkan langsung dari Australia. Jadi untuk mengetahui atau memprediksikan Bapak atau Ibu ini setara dengan IELTS atau TOEFL berapa gitu. Ini hanya prediksi ya. Tes ini hanya 50 menit, tapi overall skill ada di dalam tes ini gitu. Nah, tesnya ini online nanti dari pihak kami itu. Jadi dari Bapak dan Ibu itu atur jadwal untuk tes ini, lalu kita akan mandu atau akan dipandu untuk tesnya 50 menit gitu. Nah, untuk tesnya ini dibutuhkan yaitu tidak bisa by handphone gitu ya, jadi harus pakai laptop, internet stabil, dan juga headphone atau headset seperti itu. Nah, nanti setelah tes itu akan dibantu dijelaskan, setara dengan IELTS Bapak, prediksi levelnya Ibu dan Bapak gitu, seperti itu. Next, Mas. Nah, kita ada beberapa program ya. Mungkin saya lebih menjelaskan untuk programnya UIG. Tadi untuk Academic English sudah dijelaskan detail menurut saya ya oleh Miss Jody. Seperti Academic English tadi ada berapa jam seperti itu ya. Nah, dari akademik dibagi lagi yaitu seperti kita menawarkan academic writing-nya. Karena di academic English itu kan ada speaking, reading, listening, writing ya. Nah, ini ada academic writing yang akan kita buka di tanggal 14 yaitu 30 jam saja. Tapi ada syarat-syaratnya ya. Seperti tadi yang saya sudah jelaskan, syaratnya itu VPT. Nah, untuk mengikuti academic English writing ini ada syaratnya misalnya setara dengan IELTS atau TOEFL berapa gitu. Ada standar untuk masuk di kelas tersebut. Nah, begitu juga dengan IELTS preparation class kami. IELTS preparation class kami itu ada 3 pilihan ya, ini boleh dibaca nanti mungkin setelah info session ini besok ataupun hari ini itu akan kita bahas untuk program-program kita ini, yaitu rinciannya ada kelas malam, kelas Sabtu, dan kelas pagi. Nah, untuk mengikuti 48 jam IELTS preparation itu ada syaratnya juga, yaitu misalnya IELTS-nya di 5.0 ke atas seperti itu, minimal ya, gitu. Nah, next. Ini sudah dijelaskan tadi academic English ya. Nah, academic English program kita itu satu levelnya yaitu 200 jam, sudah dijelaskan oleh Miss Jody tadi. Nah, ini kita rencana mau buka di bulan, jadi setiap bulan itu kita buka academic English, tapi berbeda per level, jadi beda ya antara IELTS preparation dengan academic English. IELTS preparation itu hanya tips and trick untuk menghadapi tes IELTS, sedangkan academic English itu untuk meningkatkan lagi skor IELTS atau membantu untuk meningkatkan skor IELTS beserta untuk meningkatkan level atau kemampuan bahasa Inggrisnya gitu loh. Jadi per kelas itu per level beda-beda. Terus ada Academic English for Research. Nah, ini dikhususkan untuk yang mau mengambil PhD ataupun yang mau mengambil master tapi untuk yang misalnya research seperti itu kan ada ya pilihannya ya. Itu boleh ambil Academic English. Ada 2 nih pilihannya, Academic English 6 atau for research ataupun academic ataupun workshop for research seperti itu. Ini beda ya. Workshop for research itu 24 jam, kalau yang academic English pastinya 200 jam. Next, Mas. Tadi sudah dijelaskan juga ya, jadi academic English itu bisa apply langsung ke beberapa university di luar negeri, yaitu rata-rata 60 university yang bekerja sama dengan kami, minimal dari level 3, tadi sudah di quiz juga sudah dijelaskan juga ya, jadi misalnya kayak foundation level 3, kalau mau diploma level 4, atau untuk yang master itu level postgraduate itu level 5 dan juga untuk PhD misalnya di level 6 seperti itu. Nah, ini untuk apply ke beberapa university ini termasuk UTS ya, karena UIG langsung dari UTS seperti itu. Next, boleh ya, Mbak?
Sudah selesai, Mbak Loli?
Ada pertanyaan mungkin bisa ditanyakan via chat atau mungkin nanti bisa ditanyakan via WhatsApp.
Iya. Nah, Bapak Ibu untuk e-certificate-nya, we are going to send to your email. Jadi make sure bahwa emailnya sudah sesuai dan juga namanya juga sudah sesuai yang saat registrasi ya. Oke, apakah ada pertanyaan untuk Jody? Jika tidak ada pertanyaan, kita akan langsung menuju closing statement dari Jody. Ada pertanyaan dari Bapak Ibu? Atau dari teman-teman? Oke, sepertinya tidak ada. Jadi, do you have any suggestions or closing statement for today?
Well, first of all, I'd just like to say thank you for everyone for coming. That's, taking out part of your day to hopefully learn some more information, about academic English. A lot of people don't know what AE really stands for. So yeah, academic English, there's a lot to it. It is different than just using general English. So yeah, hope to see you in some of our other share sessions and workshops in some of our classes.
Okay.
That's all I
Thank you
have.
so much Thank you so much, Jody. Have a nice
bye-bye.
holiday. Bye-bye.
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 Ya, baik. Terima kasih Pak Faisal, Pak Sutrisno, Ibu Oki,
Yeah, I just hope it
Ibu
was all,
Fitria,
hope it was
ya, Ibu
useful.
Dede, ya, Bapak Kiantoro, Ibu Emi, Pak Dede, Pak Hasanul Fahmi, Ibu Misti, Syafira, Mas Ikhwah ya atau Pak Ikhwah, lalu ada Stis Alwafa, Pak Febriman, Ibu Mustika Dewi. Actually, jadi there is a participant asks, could we share the presentations for today?
I wouldn't share all of it. Like I wouldn't share the quizzes and, you know, take out a few. If I take out a few slides, perhaps, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all
Okay.
just about UIG and things that we need to do. So I'll give it to Tasim and you guys can talk to him.
Yeah.
I'll adjust it a bit.
Yeah.
You don't need all of those things.
Yes.
We don't usually
Okay.
share our slides, by the way.
Yeah, but
But
today
for
is
this,
okay.
it's information about our, yes, but I think some of them I'll adjust it, yeah?
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Jody dan juga
Bye-bye,
Mbak
everyone.
Duina, Bu Karima, Mbak Agi, Mbak Ana, dan sampai jumpa untuk info session selanjutnya. Silahkan daftar di bit.ly/join UIG English untuk mengikuti update mengenai program-program UIG. Bapak Ibu bisa langsung klik studyenglishindonesia.com. Terima kasih sekali lagi untuk hari ini. Thank you once again, Jody.
Okay, bye-bye,
And
guys.
see you next time.
Okay,
Bye-bye,
bye.
everyone.